Welcome to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Folks, sometimes you meet people who immediately remind you what the whole purpose and meaning of life is. My next guest today does exactly that. Like many of us, she's dealt with her share of challenges in life, but what makes her special is that she hasn't allowed her status as a trans woman to define her or to limit her. No, she has leveraged it to catapult herself into a dream life of art, love, and activism. She is a major influencer on Instagram with 74,000 followers and on Facebook with 28,000 followers. She is unapologetic and bold, living her best life through acting, music, and modeling. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming my guest today, Plastic Martyr. Welcome, Plastic.
Thank
you
you.
for coming on the show.
Of course, thank you for having me.
So, first things first, people who come on the show, they get hit up front with the burning question of the day. And that burning question for today is, are you still on Twitter?
Yes. Elon Musk will not scare me away.
That's good because we have a fight ahead of us. The midterms are going to be, they're going to be tough, and we need every person we can, all hands on deck.
Get out and vote.
That's right.
And vote blue.
Now, let me ask you, here's my second burning question of the day, and this is actually more burning. Where did you get the name Plastic Martyr?
So Plastic Martyr was actually my MySpace name when I was a teen, and I started out at around 13 on MySpace, which was very young, and I obviously didn't want to have my real name out there. So I would create just these bizarre screen names and just horrible screen names. And then I was out at a Warped Tour one year, and a group of girls were like, "You're Plastic Martyr for MySpace, right?" And I just kind of looked at my mom and I was like, "I'm keeping the name." So my mom trademarked the name for me, and I own the rights to it. It's my stage name, and that's just been what I go by since to protect my identity.
You have had a trademarked name since you were 13.
Yeah, a stage
That is
name.
badass. I mean, that's a serious flex. Serious. So what is the meaning behind Plastic Martyr?
So that's like a big misconception. A lot of people think that it's like a shallow name and it has to do with having a ton of plastic surgery, which is not true. I've had two major surgeries, and both of which you can't really see when you look at me. So, Plastic Martyr means basically plastic, obviously, is a material that's easily malleable, and you can change the shape of it and change it to be whatever you want. And a martyr is somebody who dies for what they believe in. And that's me. I have almost given my life and would give my life for the ability to change. So that's what Plastic Martyr means to me.
That is crazy deep. I mean, originally when I thought about where you could have possibly gotten the name from, I thought, you just dumped a bunch of words into a hat and you shook it around and plastic mart. Okay, Plastic Mart. That's it. But no, you put some time and thought and time into that. That is really extremely clever.
Yeah, thank you.
So am I hearing a bit of New York in your accent?
Yes, all my family's from the Bronx and Manhattan. So I grew up in Southern California, but my mom has a really thick New York accent, and my grandmother had a really thick New York accent, and I spent most of my time either in California or New York. So I got the sass and the accent.
Nice. You're from the boogie down Bronx. Of course, you got the sass there. All right. So you're currently living in California, yeah?
Yes, in Los Angeles.
I assumed that when I saw all of these photographs, mostly taken by paparazzi.
Hmm.
Do you ever get sick and tired of the paparazzi?
No, they're actually really I really appreciate them. I mean, they without paparazzi, you would be irrelevant if you're a public figure. So I really appreciate them and the work that they do. I feel like they get a bad rep. If you're respectable to them, they're respectable to you. So I have a really good relationship with the paparazzi. They've never overstepped their that line. If they've ever been shooting me on a day when I'm not feeling it, and I just say like, guys, like, do you mind not today? Like, they're totally cool with it. Um, I feel like they they're hardworking. They wait outside studios for me in 100-degree weather for hours, waiting to
Mm.
get a picture of me. And I'm like, the least I could do is let them take a damn photo of me, you know? So there have been times too when they've been waiting outside either a studio I'm in, shooting or recording in. I've even sent out water bottles to them or some food because I just feel bad. I'm like, you're waiting out there for me and I'm taking forever and I feel so bad. But yeah, so I really appreciate them.
First of all, I think that is very cool of you to do that, to send them out. I mean, the second, that is an extremely unique position that you have, like that you're appreciative of the hard work that these paparazzi do, because a lot of people, you talk about paparazzi, the mental image is, oh my god, these people are all over you, don't get a moment's privacy, everywhere you go they're right there, they're invasive, but you put it like this, you say, without them, we're not relevant. And
Yeah.
to a certain extent, that is true. It's
Yeah,
very
there's been
interesting.
times when they've been, like, outside my house, and I've nicely said to them, like, "I don't mind you guys shooting me, but just please don't shoot my house because of security reasons," and they're totally cool with that. Again, you just have to have, like, a communication with them, and I don't like when people act like, it's like, okay, without them, where would you be, sweetheart? Like, be grateful for the platform you've been given and be grateful that they're keeping you relevant so that you have the ability to continue this lifestyle, this platform, this career.
Indeed. Now, I see in this paparazzi taken photograph that I believe that's you with your boyfriend. Am I right?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
baby.
And I've seen quite a few pictures of the two of you together, and you two seem genuinely, madly, deeply in love. Is that a correct assessment of the situation?
Very, very correct assessment. Yeah, he is the love of my life. I am crazy about him.
How'd you guys meet?
We actually were friends for about 8 years. We've known each other, and then we've only been together for 3 of those years, but we've always really liked each other, and he lived in Nashville, I obviously live in California, so we just never really, like, had a chance to, like, get together and just, like, spend time together, and then one time I was just like I just really wanted to see him, so I was like, "Just come out to LA for the weekend," and he was like, "Okay." So he came out, and we just fell madly in love with each other, and it was just, like, perfect.
It's very nice. So I'm sure you will you'll come back on story time with BDD to let us know when you guys decide to take this to the next step.
The next step. Yeah. Maybe I'll come on with him.
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
Yeah,
Very
he's a
cool.
sweetheart.
Now, my next question is, I ask this of every person who comes on the show. So you're no different here. California is one of the strictest states in the country as far as it comes to COVID regulations, and um, I just want to know, how are you dealing with this COVID reality, living in a restrictive state like California with its restrictions? And do you mask up everywhere? Only sometimes? Is everybody participating in this? Have you noticed, or are people just ignoring the mask mandates and whatnot?
Oh, everyone's acting like COVID doesn't exist. They think that just because the CDC lifts the mandates, that all of a sudden COVID packed her shit up and got out. And it's like,
Mm.
that's not how viruses work. I know several people who are still very sick with COVID, and I know several people who have died from COVID recently. Um, I still mask up whenever I go out in public. I've gotten a little more lax about it when I'm outside and I'm not around a lot of people. Like in one of the pictures you just showed of the paparazzi pictures,
Mhm.
I had my mask in my hand because I was going into a Starbucks, but I wasn't around people, so I had my mask off. But as soon as I'm around anybody other than my boyfriend or like my closest friends or my mom, I have my mask on because I'm a germaphobe.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So it says here, I'm fully vaccinated and still hashtag wear a mask. I will
yeah,
continue to do so despite what the CDC says. I don't trust all the anti vaxxers and anti maskers. They will abuse the new mask policy, and I don't want to let my guard down just yet, especially not in a city like LA. Hashtag get vaccinated. And you've been vocal on this. You've been vocal and consistent on this, as long as we've been in the pandemic, I
yes,
guess. This is you here getting your booster
yes, yeah,
and masked up.
and masked up. Yeah,
Well done. Now, here's the reason I'm asking you and asking all of my guests is because you mentioned the CDC, no matter what the CDC says. And frankly, over the past 2 years, we've gotten a lot of information from the CDC, and it's changing because the science changes. And I understand that. I get it. But I also get that we can't be, we can't be living in pandemic forever. At some point, it has to become endemic. So
yeah,
personally, I used to go to the movies every weekend,
yeah.
without fail. Even if there was a shit movie out, I was in the movie theater. But now I haven't been to a movie theater. Actually, I've been to one movie theater. Me and a bunch of my friends rented out, but that's it. Aside from that, what am I going to do now? Doctor Strange is coming out on May 6th. I gotta, what am I going to do? I
Right.
feel like I have to sack up and just go in there, mask or whatever. But I'm a little leery of it.
Yeah, I've always been really germophobic, and plus, like, with the attention that I get, actually don't go out a lot. So, I'm a homebody, I'm kind of a hermit, but I haven't been to
Hmm.
the movie theater really, and, like, I think I went twice in the last 10 years. Even when I go to, like, movie premieres, this was before the pandemic, but when I would go to red carpets and movie premieres, this is so shitty. I used to do the red carpet, and then I would sneak out the back and never stay for the movie because they freak me out. To sit in the seats is, like, my worst nightmare. I just think of all the people that have farted in that, and their poop particles are just collecting over the years, and I'm sitting on, like, mounds of people's shit particles, and I'm just like,
Oh,
I can't do it, I can't do
wow.
it.
Okay, so that is a very real thing you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a phobia. Like, I can't even fly on planes because they freak me out germ-wise.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hate flying.
All right. So that actually doesn't have anything to do with the pandemic. That is just you in particular. But
I mean,
yeah,
the pandemic, because it's a virus, it's
it's even
germs.
worse with the
Yeah.
pandemic.
So it
Yeah.
kicked my shit into overdrive, and I was just like, "No." But I was a lunatic way before all of, like, now it's a trendy thing with the Purell and the purse and the mask and the gloves. That was me on a normal day. Like, we'd go to the gas station and pump the gas with the rubber glove on, and I'd always, like, put masks on or wear, like, hoodies and, like, over my face and whatever just to, like, stay away from germs.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. I want to ask you. Um, I want to ask you about modeling because so modeling isn't for everyone,
No.
but it's clear that you were made for modeling. I mean, I've seen dozens and dozens of photographs of you. The camera absolutely adores you. These pictures are stunning. They're fantastic. What made you get into modeling?
I was about 13 years old. No, I was at 14. Yeah, 14. And I was approached by a photographer on MySpace to shoot me. and I had blue hair at the time and was very like just this cool little kid. And he wanted to shoot me, and I was like, okay. So I lived in San Diego at the time. I drove up to LA with my mom, got photographed by him, and he's a big celebrity photographer, fabulous work.
Hmm.
Austin Young is his name. And he did this beautiful photo of me, and it ended up in a gallery. And after that, I just started getting approached on the internet by a bunch of photographers, and that led to designers. That led to then designers having me open their runway shows for Fashion Week. Then that ended up in magazines and just progressed.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
So this is your career. Did you imagine doing this when you were younger?
No, I was really shy actually. I always wanted to design clothes. I wanted to be behind the scenes. I never wanted to be in front of the camera, have attention on me. I was very shy, and believe it or not, still to this day, I am. I'm like, but I I love it now. But like, yeah, I always wanted to design clothes and just kind of be the person behind the scenes, and then I got pushed in front of it, and I was like, this is also actually really dope too.
Hmm. Now, has your height ever been an issue with modeling?
No, I'm 5'10", so for women, that's a pretty good height.
That is. That's
Mhm.
you're taller than me. Yeah, that is a very good height. So
Yeah.
I know that back in the day I used to hear not just for women but men especially, like anything under 6 feet, I think for a man, was not good enough. But for women, what is it, from 5'10" up?
I think for women, it's around 5'7" to 5'10", 6 feet is like really like the desirable height, I guess.
Oh,
And for men, it's like I think 5'10" to like and up or whatever. I don't
I
really
see.
know because the rules keep changing. Everything gets like so. Okay, you got to be inclusive to people who are different heights or whatever and
Height.
sizes. So
We call ourselves height challenged. Thank you.
challenged. So yeah, I haven't really done and I haven't really done like runway or anything in about 4 years. I've taken a big break. Plus, I'm old now, so I'm like 100 in model years.
Wow,
30 in real life is like 100 in model years. So
that's
the
crazy.
modeling, yeah, the modeling jobs have started to dwindle, but I still get a lot of stuff for like being just as like a celebrity or just more acting roles or TV appearances and stuff like that instead, which is great. Like every model should have a backup plan. I feel like because that career is only going to last a certain amount of time, and you should have another thing that then you want to go into.
There's a shelf
So
life to the modeling life.
unfortunately, there is, and yeah, there's people who still are modeling, and they're well into their like. There's a model who I think is like 80 or something, and she's phenomenal and stunning. But that's a
Hmm,
rare thing. It's not like you see a bunch of runways with like the Golden Girls strutting down them. So
right.
it's a rare thing. I think it's amazing, and it's starting to open up a little bit more, and there's more room. But back in the good old days, there was a window and there were stats you had to fit, and it was a really, really degrading industry.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, you made history by
Yeah.
being the first female transgender recording artist to work with Capitol Music Group on your single "Love in the Dark."
Yeah.
What was that whole experience like for you?
That was surreal. I pinch myself because I'm like, I never thought that I would actually be able to do music professionally. And I certainly never thought that out of the gate I would get to do it with one of the most iconic labels in history
Yeah,
of music. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
say it,
The
say it.
the day I was there recording that song, Bono was in the studio across the hall from me recording something of theirs. It was just like this surreal moment where I'm like, "Holy shit, I'm literally recording in the same building as Bono right
Mm.
now." I was like, "I'm not worthy," you know? But, it was so cool, and then the pandemic unfortunately hit, and I just had to take a pause on my whole career. I didn't work for like 2 years, but I did spend a lot of time writing new material. So I'm about to record my next single, which is going to be really, really, really cool.
What's the name of the next single? Can you say?
I think I can say it's called She Devil.
She Devil.
Yeah.
She Devil. When is that coming out?
I don't know. I haven't even recorded it yet. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, but it's going to be really cool. It's a different vibe than Love in the Dark. It's way more fast-paced rock, a little bit like a Motley Crue vibe on it.
Now let's talk for a minute about that song "Love in the Dark." You wrote that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, what? How did you come up with the what? First of all, what's the idea behind "Love in the Dark," and how did you come up with it?
So Love in the Dark was just my experiences with love and my past relationships. All the guys I dated never were comfortable enough to be with me publicly. If there were paparazzi, they would dart the other way. They would never introduce me to their families, their friends, nothing like that. I was always just they'd come over and keep me in the dark. They would love me behind closed doors, but I was like, that's not love. Like, that's just hurtful. And I
Yeah.
know that that's something that everybody goes through. It's not just because I'm trans. Everybody, cis, hetero, trans, gay, whatever you are, you've been through an experience like that. And I wrote that song, and it was just kind of amazing to see so many people relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I still, to this day, that song's like 3 years old now. And I still get to this day people just writing me from all walks of life saying, wow, that song really spoke to me, or I was going through a breakup when I heard it and it really helped me. And that's all I want from my music is to just help people and inspire people.
That's great. I mean, so not only have you touched some lives, right? But I just want to pump the brakes here for a minute because you are a model and a singer, right?
Yeah.
And just one of those things is usually like some little girl's dream. That's all she wants to do is just want to be a model, or just all I want to do is just be a singer. You've already done both. You've done
And
both.
And that just goes to show that there's no reason why nobody can't go after their dreams. Like, if you want something, go for it. I made it happen, and I had all the odds against me. Everybody in this industry slammed their doors in my face and said, we don't want to work with you. We don't know how to pitch you. We don't know how to sell you to middle America. And I never took no for an answer. So I became a model. I became an actress. I became a singer. I became an activist. All the things people, and for me, no is more of a drive for me, actually. I kinda get off on people telling me no and then proving them wrong. It's kind of like my favorite drug in the world is just revenge by success.
That's right. That's right. Now let's.
Uh,
So, how old are you in this picture?
3, I'd say,
3.
yeah, about 3, yeah.
Now, at what point in your life did you know that you were trans?
Um, I think I
Or I
started
don't know if
vocal.
I'm even saying that the right way. If the did you not know? Did you? When did you realize that you were not in the right body? Is
Yeah,
that?
that's definitely the correct way to put that, yeah, because I didn't even know what trans was back then, but I knew I was vocalizing it as young as 2.5 years old. When I was about 5 is when I actually started to present as female, but you could even see in that horrible Joe Dirt photo, um, the wig that I had on. It was actually, I think it was like a Cher wig, but I used to walk around the house like that, or I put on my mom's dresses and just walk around the house, and it was just where I was like the most comfortable. And I would play with Barbies, and I would ask my mom. I'd point to the Barbie's body, and I'd say, "Why don't I look like this?"
Hmm.
And my mom has 2 masters in psych and just knew, and she really just protected me and let me be me. That was my first day at kindergarten. So I
Now,
always just was a little girl.
were both of your parents supportive?
No, my mom is really supportive. My dad had a harder time accepting that. I don't know. I feel like men in general have more of an issue when their children are trans, especially when their son transitions to female. I don't know why they feel it threatens their masculinity or something. But again, this was years ago, and the information wasn't out there, and he was just very ignorant to it, and just wasn't as supportive as my mom was. And he's borderline on like the very conservative Republican, borderline QAnon train.
Oof.
Yeah.
Now?
Hmm.
Oy. So
Yeah,
he's
it's actually
still
gotten worse now.
so he has not accepted your life.
No, he does. He says he accepts it. And that's where the disconnect is. You say one thing. You tell me you accept it, you're proud of me, you love me, you use the correct pronouns, you refer to me as your daughter, all things I really appreciate. But
Oh,
then you throw these like false narratives in my face of children shouldn't be getting surgery and why do you want to teach kids about sex so bad? And I'm like, that's not you. Your performative allyship, or not even allyship, because he's definitely not an ally. Your performative pride in your child is
yeah.
false if you're
Uh-huh.
telling your trans daughter that bullshit. And you're not then listening to me when I'm telling you that that's wrong. You're digging your heels in and you're doubling down on your ignorance. And I have absolutely no respect for that. And I don't care if you're a family member or what. I don't need to have that in my life. And cutting off toxic family members, I think, is one of the healthiest things you could do. And as fucked up as that sounds, but there's no reason to have toxic family members hurting you if you're a minority or anybody for that matter. But
Now
that's what love looks like right there.
yeah. Now you said your mom has two masters in psych. Yeah,
Yeah, she's brilliant. Yeah.
she wasn't able to break through with your father in terms
Um,
of like straightening him out or showing him the light.
she would say things basically like, "This is who she is, and she will not be made to feel bad about herself in this house." But again, once they divorced, that only went so far. And then, like I said, it's gotten progressively worse, I'd say since the Trump era. So all of that just Facebook propaganda stuff has really, unfortunately, brainwashed him, and he's gone very far down this rabbit hole. And it's unfortunate to see your own father go down that rabbit hole.
Did you go through therapy when you were younger?
No, actually, again, my mom's a therapist, and we always had a very open, direct line of communication. And there was no judgment. I never had to hide things from her. I was very open with her about sexual stuff, like sexual experiences, sexual orientation, gender identity, stuff like this. And it was just really great to have a best friend who was also my mom. And I never once felt judged by her. And that's the way it should be. You shouldn't be judged by your parents. Like, it's just disgusting if you judge your child.
Were you bullied by kids in school or teachers or both?
Yeah, so what was interesting is I I knew in order to survive high school, I had to become a bitch. And so I would get bullied, but it was only like a one-time deal with these people. So like some kid would bully me, I'd retaliate. They would never even look at me again. The harder ones to handle were the adults. The teachers were very, very judgmental and frankly stupid. The principal of my school was just a horrendous piece of shit. And I wasn't allowed to go to school dances dressed as a female. I wasn't allowed to use the bathrooms. They would make me use the janitor's bathroom.
Oh,
Um,
goodness gracious.
yeah, it was horrible. They wouldn't use the pronouns I went with. They wouldn't go by the name I chose. They would misgender me in the yearbook, even though I would specifically ask you, please don't misgender me in this. And they were like, well, legally that's what you are, so that's what we're putting in there. And it was just like, yeah, it was a gross experience. And what's funny now is like, I went to my 10-year high school reunion and I saw the people that like I fought with in high school. And of course, now they're all kissing my ass. And the best part is that the school actually said to me, we would love to have you come and speak at the school. And I said, oh, I don't think you can afford me now, though. It's like, where was that support when I was actually a student? Now all of a sudden you want to show your students, oh, look at her story. And oh, we have And they're telling, which is great. It's great that they've changed their ways now, and they now have a gender neutral bathroom, and they have LGBTQ programs at the school, and great, phenomenal. I'm glad you've evolved. But my experience at your school was horrible.
I
So
would, if it were me, I might just be willing to go back and say, yeah, you know what? It's like this today, but when I was here, they treated me like garbage, and that's not
yeah.
right.
Well, if they can afford 10 grand, I would absolutely do it. But I don't get out of bed for anything less than 10 grand.
Okay, so I want to ask you about your surgery. You've undergone gender affirmation surgery. That is that the correct term?
Yes.
Gender affirmation.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, that was something. That was 3 months of some of the most excruciating hell I've been through, and again, I would do it 1,000,000 times over. It was
Wait,
worth
three
every
months of multiple surgeries,
No, no,
or
no.
just
So the surgery was one day. It was a 4-hour surgery. It's not that long. But it's 3 months of recovery. That was just hell for me.
Hmm.
And there's so much trauma and damage and swelling and psychological stuff that you need to just like kind of grasp with. And it was it was a journey. And even for me, somebody who really knew that they wanted this their whole life, there was not a doubt in my mind that this was the correct move for me. I went through a period when I just got the surgery of like just 2 weeks of just like kind of depression and like what did I do, and I don't know what I did, and this is irreversible, and I just fucked up my entire body and blah, because it looked horrible, it
Mm.
felt horrible, it was painful, it looked horrific, and then it was about, I'd say 3 weeks after I was home. So I'd say it was about week 4, and I'm getting out of the
Mm.
shower, and I catch myself in the mirror naked, and I
Mhm.
started crying, and it was happy tears for the first time, because
Uh,
in the mirror, I see reflected back to me what I see in my head when I close my eyes at night. There was the woman that I know I am staring back at me, and it was just finally it just clicked, and it was like, yes, I felt so much peace in that moment, and I was like, it was amazing, and then I knew at that point that I did the right thing, and now
was
everything's healed, and it's beautiful, and it's functioning, and it's gorgeous.
was that the first time that you had ever looked in the mirror and what you saw matched what was up here?
Yeah, yeah.
That's beautiful.
The dysphoria really subsided after that, and then for me, I take a while actually to do the surgeries and everything. I live with stuff first. So I actually did my bottom surgery first before my top surgery, which is really rare. Usually it's the other way around.
Mhm.
But I was like, okay, so I lived with this for a minute, and then I there was still something not clicking, and I look in the mirror and I'm like, what is it? I'm still dysphoric about something. And then it was breasts. So then I got my implants done, and 4 months after my surgery, so I had 2 surgeries within 6 months of each other. It was just a long period of healing from surgery. There was a lot of trauma, a lot of, like I said, psychological stuff that I had to just kinda, like, get over, but, I'm so, like, happy now in my body that, like, it was so worth it.
Let me ask you about timing.
Yeah.
Do you think it makes sense to do it sooner or later?
I think it's important the young to if you are realizing this when you're young, it's I think it's important to start young, because the younger you start, the better the outcome is. And for people who are less passable, they have less passability. It's harder for them in society because there's a bigger target on their back. It's more obvious that they're trans, and they're targeted more by ignorant people. So for me, I am very passable, and the amount of transphobia I receive from the regular day life is slim to none, because people don't know unless they recognize me, and they know who I am. Then they know, and even then, I live in LA, so it's like very rare. But on the internet, I get death threats daily. It's horrible, whatever. But for people who are not, they don't have possibility or they transition very late in life, it's so much harder because you have to get more surgery, you have to get facial feminization. It's harder to train your voice to use higher octave. It's very different. Your shoulders are bigger, your body's bigger. It's
Did, wait,
important.
did you go through all that? You went through the voice thing and all
No,
that?
no. This is just my voice. And people make fun of my voice all the time. They said that it's a tell. I actually like my voice, so I don't ever. I mean, I could really talk like this if I wanted to, but like that's not me. It's just I
No,
like
no,
a
it's
little
not that.
rasp in my voice. So,
Yeah.
no, I just like again, I transitioned so young that for me, I never developed as male. My body never developed as a male. My face never developed. I didn't have surgery on my face. And I'm actually thinking about getting it though. I have a consult, or I booked an appointment for face, just some light work.
It's none of my business, but personally I don't think you need it. Just
Thank
you're
you
fine
so
as you are.
much. Thank you. But yeah. So I think it's important to start young.
I have a little clip of you just before your gender affirmation surgery. Do you mind if I play that?
Please. Hey guys, it's Plastic Martyr. It is that time. That time being my gender confirmation, my gender reassignment, my gender affirming, whatever the politically correct term for it this week is, surgery. Basically, I'm getting my hoo-ha installed and I am so excited, and I'm, for lack of a better Yiddish term, I am fucking plotzing right now. I am literally plotzing, but mostly out of excitement. Partly because I'm fucking terrified, but mostly excited. So I kind of wanted to update you guys on everything that's been going on up to this point, considering my surgery is like 4 days away. And yeah.
You seem to have it together pretty well there, despite being terrified and excited all at the same time. That's a great snapshot that you have of that moment.
Yeah, it was. I was so excited. I was really nervous, but I was really excited. Like to be finally put in the body that you have dreamt about since you were a little kid. It's just like it's freeing, And I hate that people try so hard to keep others from experiencing that. Again, it has nothing to do with anybody else. It doesn't hurt anybody else. It doesn't
Yeah.
affect anybody but that person, that trans person. So there's no reason why you should make it difficult for us to go through that. It's already difficult enough as it is. Like, and that's what people don't get is they think that, oh, these kids are getting surgery and by letting your kid transition, they're getting surgery. No, stop. Nobody's getting fucking surgery. No kids are getting surgery. You literally have to be 18 and 16. I think
Oh,
in some instances you could be 16 with like parental consent, but even for me, who, as you can see, I've been a little girl my whole life, there was no major transition for me. It was just life for me. I still had to stand before a judge and get approved to transition from some
oh,
stranger. I had to see two therapists and get two letters from two separate therapists approving me for my surgery. I had to be on hormones for at least 2 years minimum before I was allowed to get surgery. And to get my surgery, my doctor has a 3-year wait list.
wow.
So it's not easy. So kids are not
It's a
just
whole
going out
process.
and, yeah, putting it on their visa and saying, give me a vagina, please. I'll take two. It's like, it's much harder than people think.
Yeah. Thank you for enlightening me, because I didn't know that was part, and I hope people in the audience are enlightened as well.
Yeah.
I would like to move on to your time in on TV. You've been on TV. You're not just a model, and you're not just a singer, but you've also been on reality TV where you cross paths with members of the reality show Little Women. How did that experience make you feel about reality TV?
God, I hate that dumb bitch's face so much. First of all, Christy, the first one you showed is one of my best friends, but the second one, Brianna, we don't like her. Yeah, her,
This is your
Christy.
friend.
That's my girl. I love her. Yeah, yeah.
What happened? What happened?
So I basically was brought into the show because Brianna's slimy husband, Matt, was sliding into my DMs and DMing me, and
This
it
guy.
got out. Yeah, him, gross, disgusting. Um, like, could you imagine? Please,
No.
I don't hate myself that much, you know? Like, I at least value my body. So he was sliding into my DMs saying really inappropriate things, and I told my friend Christy, and it got out, and then the show was like, let's bring her on and talk about this. So I went on thinking I was gonna like clear the air about what's happening, and of course, instead they tried villainizing me, which was an adorable attempt at them trying to do that. But I just used it to my advantage and used it as a platform to kind of educate people on trans stuff. And there was a lot of transphobia on the show from the castmates. They would say, yeah, one of the women, Tanya, who I think you might have a clip of it, but her and I get in a fight, and she says, "Bye, boy, girl, whatever you are, he, she, it, whatever you are." That's what she says, and
Hmm.
I lost my shit, and then I threatened to hit her in the face with my Italian leather bag, which
Well, I do have a clip. Let me play that clip.
Mess with your life. I don't know. Have you guys all been plastic? Remember Matt was talking to a certain transgender? You have to go.
You are the
No,
right
you
now.
want to be a bitch. You.
I will drop kick customer, bitch.
You would drop kick. Have you ever had
so they of course edited that to make me look like the asshole. But if you watch the episode, she does say in there, "You want to be a bitch. You want to be a girl," and I was like, "Oh, honey." So I threatened to then drop kick her across the room, which wasn't my finest moment, but
You got to stick up for yourself,
exactly,
and it looked like they were trying to gang up on you
very much.
is how I saw it. I didn't see you coming across as the asshole, but I think that's only because I know who you are,
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah, they and on the reunion show, they were horrible to me. The host, Kevin Frazier, who's the host on like I think E or something like that. He was the host of the reunion show, and he was also really disrespectful and horrible to me. And the amount of transphobia that was just so obvious then, and of course,
still.
yeah, nowadays that would never fly. But this was like before everything just kind of came into light, and it was just I was treated like shit. And then it was brought back again for season 9, and I just kind of yeah, it was like it was a different experience for season 9. Again, I before when we filmed that season, that was season 5. I hadn't gone through my surgery yet, so I was still pre-op, and it was really difficult to be pre-op and be in the public eye like that and then have like my transition be so public after that. But then when I came
Mm.
back on the next time, I was fully transitioned and I did a little runway show for Christie's lingerie line. And it was just kind of a nice little like see me now bitches kind of moment.
You've had another run in with another TV celebrity. This is, I believe her name is it Leah Michelle or Michelle Leah? Leah
Leah
Michelle, right?
Michelle. Leah
From Glee.
Michelle. Yeah.
She was the star of Glee, and something happened the night you went to the Emmy
Yeah.
Awards. Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Tell me what
She's
happened.
well yeah, she's a very talented girl obviously and was it was during the height of like Glee. So this was I think back in 2010 and I was horribly tragic. Horribly tragic.
What do you mean?
I just was in a very gray area of my transition at that point and very in between phase. Um I didn't look like I did now. But
Okay.
I still was identified as female and presented as female, and I was in a dress and everything, and I felt beautiful that day, and I went to the Emmys with my mom, and I was in
Mhm.
the bathroom, and her and her friends were hogging up the mirrors, and I'm standing there patiently like an asshole saying waiting, and then I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm like, "Hi, can I just get in and watch my" "No." "Okay." And they're, like, blocking me, and I'm like, "Excuse me, can I just" "Okay, no." And then finally I'm like, "Excuse me, can I just get in and wash my hands?" And she's like, "Excuse me? Excuse you. You're in the women's bathroom." And
Mm.
then what happened next,
Mm.
I don't remember if this was just because I was so triggered or if this really was the case, but I just felt like then every single person, and that was a crowded bathroom. That was during a commercial break at the Emmys. It was
Yeah.
crowded. And it just felt like everybody was looking at me and I was mortified. Mortified. And I remember going back to my seat and I went from feeling radiant and glowing to just feeling so just like shut down. And even my mom was like, What's wrong with you?" And I was like, Nothing. I just,
Ha-
you know,
Has she ever apologized for that?
no. And I don't need an apology. Like honestly, it happened so long ago, and me coming out about that story was not designed to try and take her down. I stupidly left it as a comment, like because it was on. She got accused of a lot of other like horrible behavior, racist behavior, homophobic behavior, whatever, just being a huge diva on set. And I contributed what my experience in a comment, and then of course it got picked up by big account on Twitter and screenshot and posted, and then it just was like it blew up. And I
Mm.
forgot that like people pay attention to what I say, so I feel bad. But at the same time, I feel like it should be addressed, and it's a good like lesson to learn. But I don't hold anything against her. That was again 2010. I would not want to be judged for who I was in 2010 either. So I wish her well. I know she's a mom now. I wish her well. I have no ill will towards her right now.
Speaking of being judged for what happened in 2010 or whenever, how do you feel about cancel culture?
I'm not a fan of it. I think it's become very abused. I think it's people shut people down for just the stupidest things, and I think it dilutes the severe cases of stuff. I feel
Mm.
like canceling somebody because they said something inappropriate or rude on a social media page 10 years ago or more is ridiculous. I don't think
Mhm.
that I mean people need to be given the opportunity to grow and evolve.
Yeah.
And none of us are perfect. Every single one of us have skeletons in our closet and have said and done something ignorant. You'd be lying if you said you didn't. So, to be judged on who you were years ago when the social climate was different or you didn't know better or just whatever the case was, you were a fucking asshole teenager, you shouldn't be judged for that. Of course, there's certain cases like, again, Harvey Weinstein. Yes, hold him accountable for that shit.
Oh yeah.
Donald Trump, hold him accountable for that shit. But like, if you said a mean tweet, like I love all these ones, like oh my god, so and so is getting backlash for some tweet they posted in 2011, and it's like, and who cares? Now look at what they're doing today. You're ignoring what they're doing today and who they are today, and judging them for something that's in the past, not even real. And I think
Hmm.
that's ridiculous. And I think that that's just a way for the people who aren't powerful to feel powerful. We have the power now to group together and come after you and cancel your career or ruin your life because you pissed us off with this. And I just think that's a really shitty thing to do.
That power should be used, I think, for good. I mean, I
Absolutely.
agree. I agree with you that none of us were perfect, and in fact, it's funny. Excuse me, is that sometimes um, I like to watch movies or TV shows that at one point in my life I thought were really funny, and I share it with my wife. So it's like it's a different thing. There's so many things she hasn't seen yet, right? So I'll play something that I saw 40 years ago, and like, wait till you see this, so funny. And when we sit down and watch it, I'm like, oh shit, is this funny to me? At one point it was rip roaringly hilarious. And I don't know if it's my maturity or it's just that what was acceptable at one point in our life is now no longer acceptable.
Yeah. And I think that that's like it's great that things are changing and people are becoming more like open-minded or whatever, but I also feel like I still laugh at the horrible humor from like back then. I won't repeat it, and I don't think it should be said now. But if it's in a movie that's clearly just fake and it's whatever, I still laugh at it. I have a fucked up sense of humor, so I still laugh at it, even if it's like something derogatory to do with trans people. Like I crack up whenever I watch Ace Ventura, and they're so transphobic in that. But I think it's like say
Yeah,
hello to Mr. Kanish, you know? I think that's fucking
yeah.
funny. Like loosen up, my God. But like,
Well, that I think
no.
that's more of a Jim Carrey. I think some people
Yeah,
just you either Jim Carrey, you either love him or you hate him. There's no
yeah.
in between. Yeah. All right. So we're now at the part of the show that I like to call Twitter tips and tricks. And basically, what this is you get to share your tips, your tricks with our audience of how they can tweet better. What are some things they can do to improve their engagement or get more followers or whatever the case may be? What jewels of experience can you share?
Well, I definitely want to say that it doesn't matter how many followers you have. That doesn't dictate your worth. It doesn't define your worth. And I like what counts is the content that you're posting and how impactful your platform is and your words are. So for me, my biggest thing that I do is again, I'm a fiery Sicilian, so I got a mouth on me. And
Hmm.
I will write out some of the most vile, vicious tweets, and then I hit draft and I go and I take a bath, I'll have my coffee or whatever. I'll sit on it for a minute. And then I revisit it before I post it and I read it again and I go through and I think that could offend this group of people. That could come off this way. This could da, 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 da. And I try to alter around what I was going to say so
Hmm.
that it's better. So my thing is write your tweets out anytime you have an idea. Type it out. I type a bunch of tweets a day and I draft them all and then I'll revisit them throughout the week or that same day. The other thing that I think is smart that I do is I take days off from the internet completely. So there are days when I just don't even go on Twitter. I don't get involved in it. I take a mental health day because the amount of hate that we receive on the internet is just so toxic. And I just like to, and the internet also is not a real place. Like it's kind of a fake place. So I like
Yeah.
to ground myself and be back into my real life and enjoy my boyfriend, my puppy, my house, my career, my friends. So I take days off, and I also then really, like I said, sit with my tweets before I post them.
So I got pause before sending
Yeah,
and take mental health break.
yeah.
I also here I have a tweet from you. This is this I believe this one or another one of yours went extremely viral.
This one got
You wrote,
100,000 likes on it. So yeah,
there you go. It says, "I wonder how these conservatives would feel if we passed a law making it illegal to teach your kids about religion until they were adults."
yeah.
Talk about this for a minute. Just where did you get the idea? Somebody actually made this into a little bit of a meme. They show the kids' Bibles there and
Yeah,
kids'
that's from
religious books.
me. The progressivists did that.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that tweet, well, first of all, that tweet, it starts off with, I wonder how conservatives would feel. And very quickly after I posted that, we found out how they felt about that. Because they were extremely, extremely triggered, as they are. They're probably one of the most hypersensitive groups of people I've ever met in my entire life. And they are so easily triggered and not very smart, and they can't connect the dots very
mm,
well. So this tweet, they also tried to, like as they do, twist the narrative and put out their own agenda or whatever with that tweet. So on all these conservative like websites now, that tweet's popping up and they're shredding me on it and saying I'm stupid and liberals don't know that there's separation of church and state and you already can't teach religion in school and blah blah blah. I never said in school, so you guys put that in there. I
right.
meant just in general. If you're trying to prevent kids from being gay, trying to prevent kids from being trans, then I think we should prevent kids from being religious. Don't
Mhm.
indoctrinate your children then. If you think that's manipulation and they're not old enough to understand sexual orientation or gender identity, they shouldn't be understanding then the Bible.
Well, there's a big difference between trying. First of all, you can't make kids gay or trans. They just are. They just are. You're born that way. There's not a book, there's not a book of how to become, gay or how to become trans. It's not, but there are plenty of books on religion. So it's really only the religious people imposing their beliefs on people. People who
Yeah.
are LGBTQ are just living their damn lives and want to love whoever they want to love.
And
For
to be
crying out loud.
clear, that's not really how I feel like you should be able to teach your kid whatever the hell you want. If you're Christian and you want to raise your kid Christian, that's your kid. Do whatever you want. But
Mhm.
I like to use religion as a kind of a parallel thing because I feel like then people get the idea. You take something that's important to them and you replace LGBTQ with it and attack that, and then they start to see. Unfortunately, in their cases, they don't. They double down on their ignorance and they're like, ha ha ha, you're stupid. You didn't know you can't teach religion in public school. Actually, I'm not stupid and I did know that.
Right.
That's why I didn't say it in school. Um, but yeah, so I enjoyed that tweet. I enjoy pissing them off.
You had another fire tweet that I came across here where you went at Dean Cain. You said, aw, fragile little real Dean Cain doesn't like that Superman is hashtag bisexual. I'm not surprised. Anything pro LGBTQ is a bigot's kryptonite. I think Lois Lane should be transgender too. I'd be happy to play her next. Hashtag LGBTQ. Let me just tell you, you have levels to this, right? The first level is that you added him, right? You did
Mhm.
at Real Dean Cain, which I'm sometimes guilty of not doing that enough. I mean, it's more badass when you really literally say, hey, yo, here. Um, and the fact that Dean Cain, played Superman on TV. The whole thing about a bigot's kryptonite, that is also very clever how you did that there. The kryptonite is the weakness. And then offering to play Lois Lane, transgender Lois Lane. That's the pièce de résistance. That's a fire tweet.
Thank you. And I would still, whoever's watching, would love to play Lois Lanes if you have a connection. Um, they never came to me after that tweet for that, but yeah, no, he did block me after that, so I was honored.
That would be. I think I would love to see you as transgender Lois Lane.
I
They
think
got to
it'd be
make it happen.
great because
Make it
the best
happen.
thing is I wouldn't me being trans would have nothing to do with it because I'm acting. But like people have such a hard time casting trans women to play cis roles. I've never
Mm,
been booked in a cis role ever.
interesting.
Yeah. So
Interesting. Well, yet,
yes,
yet.
yeah. Thank you. Yet.
Come to think of it, I did see Laverne Cox
Mhm,
in that thing, Inventing Anna.
mhm.
She was great in that, and I think she played cis
Yes, I
uh,
think she's done
characters.
a couple cis roles, and I'm that's I think it's amazing. And I love Laverne. She's really helped pave the way for a lot of us trans people in the entertainment industry, and just including with the cast of Pose. And I know one of them just won I think Golden Globe or whatever, and that's just incredible. So it gives me hope that things are changing and that there's going to be more opportunity for me because I would love to just work and entertain you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are now at the part of the show that I like to call quick hits. So, so this is basically the part where we talk about current events, things that are happening in the news, and how they impact on you. And Ron DeSantis's "Don't Say Gay" bill. Do you know of anyone in the LGBTQ community who is either supportive of Ron DeSantis or of Republicans in general?
Yes. Unfortunately, there are self-loathing people within the community, such as Caitlyn Jenner.
Mm.
She has been very, very vocal about her support for Ron DeSantis and the Don't Say Gay bill. I think she's even like mentioned something about him as like president or whatever, which I'm just like, girl, okay, whatever.
I will never understand Caitlyn Jenner's her support of the Republican Party, where they are just dead set against her right to exist.
Yeah.
Um, Here's a tweet that you posted a while back. You said, "I just used my power and voted. If you are in California, vote no on the recall for Gavin Newsom, and especially vote hell no for hashtag Caitlyn Jenner. Well done. You did help defeat her.
Good.
Uh, Good on you for that."
Yeah.
And then I saw this thing here. Caitlyn Jenner subjected to transphobic abuse at conservative conference, which is the biggest. I'm not surprised ever. Like, are you surprised at that? No.
No, I'm not surprised. I will say though that I saw the video of that, and as much as I don't like her, that hurt to watch. That hurt to watch a trans person go through that. And I was like, how do you still, after experiencing that at the, I think it was the CPAC or whatever it was, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, After experiencing that kind of treatment, how do you then sit there and go, these are my people. I love them. I agree with them. Blah, 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 blah. That to me just goes to show, sweetheart, you need to get into therapy because you have some serious self loathing hate inside of you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So much shame for herself. It's really sad to watch.
It's frustrating.
Mm.
Um, oh, hang on a second. So I get the sense that within the LGBTQ community, our trans brothers and sisters are the most vulnerable out of everyone. How can people be better advocates of the LGBTQ community in general and the trans community in particular?
I think people need to be vocal. I think using your voice as an ally for us is very important. You can't be an ally and stay silent. You need to educate your cisgender friends, family, whatever. Call them out on their shit when they post fake stuff on Facebook or Twitter or whatever the hell they're posting on about unfair advantages in sports teams for women with trans people on them, bathroom things, grooming children, all this bullshit that's out there about us. Call them out on that. I know it's uncomfortable, but think about how it is for us. It's
Yeah.
uncomfortable for me to have to see that and deal with that every day. So for you to call them out as a cis ally would be so helpful for people to do that. And I think the only way we can evolve is to educate people. And like you said, even earlier, you weren't aware that the surgery date was, I mean, the surgery time frame was like 18 years old.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that. So the only information that's circulating is the misinformation that the right is spewing. So then,
Yeah.
of course, people think, oh, that must be true. And it's like, it's not. Like, just Google it and you can find out the answers that, or again, even like the whole grooming thing. It's like, I posted another tweet where I said there's more cases of pedophilia amongst Republican politicians, in the church, and from cis hetero people than there have ever been from LGBTQ people. I said, stop making us your scapegoat. And it's just disgusting to me the amount of like, oh, they're pedophile. First of all, I hate children. Keep your kids away from me. Period. In general, done. They're germ-ridden little vermin. Keep your children away from me. But I've never known a single LGBTQ person who has gotten off on children. I do know, however, plenty of cis hetero people who have been canceled or called out or gotten in trouble for having relationships with minors.
Oh yeah, Roy Moore, for instance, of the GOP,
Yep.
Matt Gaetz,
Donald
and
Trump.
the list goes on and on. Donald Trump. I came across this post from one of my friends, Nan. She posted this thing. I guess this was on Facebook, and I just want to read this to you. This was an excellent post. I'm the father of a 21-year-old daughter. There are lots of things I worry about. I worry about her being sexually assaulted because that happens a lot. I worry about her being the victim of a drunk driver because that happens a lot. I worry about her being the victim of gun violence because lots of people die from gun related injuries. Here's what I do not worry about. I don't worry about her being attacked in a restroom by a trans woman because A, it has never happened, and B, trans women are the most victimized group of people I've ever met and the least likely to commit a crime of indecency in a restroom because they are afraid of getting beat up when all they want to do is pee. And here's something else I don't worry about. I don't worry about my daughter being cruel and inhumane to trans men, women, or kids because my wife and I have raised her to have values and because she is a kind person. There are things to worry about, and then there are things people want you to worry about to conceal their agenda of discrimination and hate. Wake up. What do you think about that?
Thank you, Steve. That was amazing. Like, that really hits close to home too. The whole being in the bathroom thing. Again, that kind of goes back to the Leah Michelle thing. A bathroom is a very, very, very vulnerable place for a trans person. Um, and unfortunately, most of our uh, altercations usually are around a bathroom. And it's still to this day, with a vagina as passable as I am, every time I go into a public bathroom, I get freaked out.
Mm.
So I rarely ever go into a public bathroom. And this is so embarrassing, but I will say I even pee in the back seat of the car in a Starbucks cup and dump it out on the side of the road to avoid going
Oy.
in a public bathroom. Yeah. Because it's just like, is it worth it for me today to go into a public bathroom? No. And I remember years ago, I was driving back from New York to LA, and we were on the road, and I had to stop and pee in some shithole in Indiana. And um, I walk into the bathroom. I walk into it's like a gas station type of bathroom situation, and there was a security guard at the and this was at the height of when they started pushing the bathroom bills for trans people. They actually had a security guard checking IDs at the bathroom. And thank God I had already legally transitioned. So my ID
Goodness
said female.
gracious.
And again, I was passable. My ID said female. And I did that thing with my voice that I did earlier where I raised it. And yeah, I just was like, my heart was beating and I was freaking out. And then luckily, but I was just like, that's disgusting to me. That is disgusting to me. I just want to pee. What do you
Yeah.
think I'm gonna do in there? What do you like? Who the hell has time to do what you concoct in your brain? Who has time to actually do that in the bathroom? Nobody.
The fear, the ignorance, the misinformation, it's rampant.
Yeah.
It's run amok, and it has to stop. And the only way it is going to stop is, as you said earlier when I asked you, how can we be better advocates? We have to speak up and we have to speak out, and we do have to educate ourselves and educate other people. It's the only way the kind of hatred that has historically affected minority communities, Black, Latino, Asian, it's the only way that made progress. And we still have a ways to go, but
Yeah.
we don't make progress if people aren't speaking up loudly and often.
Yeah, it's really sad to me. And what's really sad to me too is when I see other marginalized communities attacking trans people. And I'm just like, you should know what that feels like. How could you turn around and do that? That's the typical bully syndrome. You know, I'm kicked and I feel low, so then I find somebody even lower than me to shit on and kick them while they're down to build myself up. And it's like, how is that going to work out for you? If you continue to perpetuate this against trans people, they're going to come for you next.
Yeah.
So you might want to redirect that anger and that passion that you have for hurting us and put it towards the people who really are the enemy, the
Indeed.
GOP. Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, so I have some questions from some of our viewers, and let me just cue this up here. Wait a minute. Did I totally forget to pop up your ladies and gentlemen, my bad. I should have brought this up when we were doing the Twitter tips and tricks. If you are interested in following Plastic Martyr and checking out her content, her Twitter is at Plastic Martyr, and her Instagram is at Plastic Martyr. So check that out. We'll show that again before the end of the episode here. We have a question from Jonathan Slater, who wants to know, what is the biggest challenge today for transgender children?
The biggest challenge for trans children is 100% just them having the ability to be themselves. And like I said earlier, I think it's very important to let your children transition as young as they can. Not as young as they can, but young, because the outcome is better. The result is better, and they'll have an easier life. Just being able to be the gender they identify as. And to prohibit them from doing that, you're then setting them up to transition later on in life when it's harder and they're going to need more surgeries and it's going to be a little bit more difficult and the target will be bigger on their back. So I think the biggest challenge is for sure letting kids successfully be themselves.
As opposed to forcing them to remain in a body that they cannot identify with.
Yeah. And you know what's weird is like they say like to like liberal families or LGBTQ people that we're grooming our children to be trans or gay or whatever, which you can't because you're born that way. But you can groom them to be straight and cisgender. So it's not okay to let your kid transition to a gender they identify as, but you think it's okay to force them to be a gender they don't identify as, and then you set them up for depression, suicide, all kinds of shit.
What you just said kind of dovetails into Jonathan. Jonathan's got another question for you. He would like to know, what's the difference between sexual orientation and gender identity?
So sexual orientation is what you're attracted to, who you're attracted to, and gender identity is how you identify. So for me, I identify as female, clearly. I transitioned to female, and my sexual identity is hetero. I'm in a relationship with a straight man, and we have heterosexual sex. Now, it's different for every person because your gender identity and your sexual orientation have nothing to do with each other. So every trans person's sexual identity is different. It's because that's two separate things.
So, like, for instance, Caitlyn Jenner.
So Caitlyn Jenner was obviously married to women before, attracted to women. And when she transitioned, who she's attracted to still stayed the same. She's still attracted to women. So now she went from being a straight male to transitioning to a gay female. So, which is funny because she's anti both of those things. She's all three, actually. She's anti-trans, anti-women, and anti-gay. So she really hates herself today.
She needs some therapy for that self-hatred.
Yeah.
Jonathan is going for the hat trick with his third question, and this one is, what is gender dysphoria?
So gender dysphoria is what every trans person goes through. So that's when your brain and your body don't match up. And when you look in the mirror and you feel like if you're born female and you feel male, and you look in the mirror and you see a female staring back at you, that's gender dysphoria because it's not matching up with your brain. And for me, it was the opposite. I was born with a female brain and I had a penis. So for me, that was really difficult for me to see in the mirror. It was difficult for me to see my body. And that's gender dysphoria, is really just not being able to live in your body.
Well, I'm glad that you have been able to live your life the way you see fit, and it's my sincere hope that over the years, more and more people will become enlightened and stop making it so damn hard for people just to freaking just let people live and let be, for crying out loud.
Yeah. And what's funny is like it's the people who bitched the most about wearing a mask and their personal freedom and don't control my body,
my body, my choice.
my body, my choice. Yet when it comes to a woman's uterus, a trans person's genitals, or gender identity, or a gay person's love choice, why do you need to regulate that, but you think it's not okay to regulate wearing a mask during a deadly pandemic because you've decided to say it's a scam, right?
The hypocrisy.
Yeah, so much. And again, they're the most hypersensitive group of people I've ever seen in my entire life.
Okay, we are now, Plastic. We're at my favorite part of the show, which is the guessing game. So I'm going to give you three categories to choose from. One is name that 80s tune. Oh, we're not letting you do this one for reasons. I'm no good at this. Name that Prince song. Or guess that TV show quote.
Let's do the 80s music. Which I'm scared for. Okay.
Yeah. So here's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
I am going to sing an 80s song, and you have to guess who sang it or what the name of the song is. I'll accept either as correct. If you guess correctly, then you get the Drake look of approval there. If you guess incorrectly, you get the Drake disapproval there. Okay?
Yeah.
We ready?
Yeah.
Let's see. Here's the first one. And please, I know you are a professional singer. I am not. So don't judge me. Okay. Here's the first one. Poor old Johnny Ray. Senate sat up on the radio, moved 1,000,000 hearts in mono. Our mothers cried.
Boy George?
Sing along, who'd blame them?
I don't know.
Grown, so grown. Now I must say more than ever. Come on, to-ra-lu-ra, to-ra.
No, I know the song. I don't know who sings it or the name of it.
And we can sing just like our fathers. No?
I know the song. I just don't know who sings it.
Oh, come on, Eileen.
Oh,
I swear.
Okay.
At this moment. Okay, so we were looking for Come On, Eileen, and you were unable to correctly guess that. So,
to be fair, I'm horrible at 80s music because the only 80s bands I really listened to were like AC/DC or like Def Leppard.
Okay, I'm sure your parents were listening to some 80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Duran, a lot of Duran.
Okay, let's go. Let's try this next one here. Let's see if you have some better luck with this. Turn around every now and then.
Bonnie Tyler.
And you're never coming round.
Total Eclipse of the Heart, Bonnie Tyler.
Woo! Well done. And let's see. Yes, we were looking for Total Eclipse of the Heart, and that was Bonnie Tyler. And for that one, you'll get this guy here. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, and let's just go back here. Boom. Boom. Here's the next one. Easy, ready, willing, overtime. Where does it stop? Where do you tell me to draw the line? You got the body, now you want my soul. Don't even think about it, say no, go. And I Don't you want me to? Yeah. No?
I don't
Nothing?
even know
No.
that one. No.
Okay. So at this point, that my audience right now is lighting up the comments saying it's Hall and Oates. I
Oh.
can't go for that.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
no,
not a Hall
no.
and Oates fan. I'm so sorry.
Okay, all right. So unfortunately, we got to give you the judging look of disapproval there.
Although they did do Maneater, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, so I do like that song. Okay.
Okay, let's. This one I am fairly certain you will get. You ready?
Yeah.
Steve walks wearily down the street with the brim pulled way down low. Ain't no sound but the sound of his feet. Machine guns ready to go.
Queen.
Are you ready? Hey, are you ready for this? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? I don't know where the bullets rip to the sound of the beat.
Queen.
Doom, doom,
Another
doom.
one bites the dust.
Yeah.
I love my Freddie. May he rest.
Indeed. Okay, we were looking for boom. Another one bites the dust, and you're recovering nicely. So we'll give you the Drake seal of approval. Well done.
Thank you, Champagne Poppy.
Okay. This one may or may not be a little bit more challenging. I think this one is like is definitely 80s. Here we go. Traveling in a fried out Kombi on a hippie trailhead full of zombie. I met a strange lady. She made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. And she said, "Do you come from a blah, 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 blah?
Oh,
Women
Land
glow
Down
and men
Under or
thunder."
whatever, right?
What's that?
Land Down Under or something. Was that it? Yeah. I forgot who sings that though.
Well done. Well done. That one clearly was out of your comfort zone, but you went for it and you got it. We were looking for this was Men at Work. Down Under was the name of the song. Very well done. Yeah.
Yay.
We'll give you Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV screen there.
Thanks, Leo.
Way to go. Let's see. Where are we? Here. Okay. Here's the next one. This is a classic. I mean, this song was born in the 80s, but it lives on to this day. You ready?
Yeah.
You must understand, though the touch of your hand makes my pulse react.
Yeah, Tina Turner. I love Tina.
Well, but do you see what I mean? That song like lives on to right now.
It lives on a lot in my house because I have Tina playing all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Who
Amazing.
we give you
Okay,
for this
let's
one?
pass it.
You were doing very well,
Thank
by the
you.
way.
I love music. I love music.
Okay. Okay, you ready for the next one?
Mm-hmm.
It's poetry in motion. She turned her tender eyes to me, as deep as any ocean, as sweet as any harmony. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. And fill me in biology.
I don't know that one.
No. Okay, we were looking for that one was a little tougher if you're not, big on the 80s. This was Thomas Dolby in She Blinded Me with Science.
No.
No, never heard that.
Never heard it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You couldn't have given me like Pat Benatar or something, or someone I would know.
There's so many. There's so many to choose from. Okay.
That
And
kid.
here's the last one. The
Okay.
last one is coming right now. Boom, boom, boom. I think you're gonna get this one. I was working part time at a five and dime. My boss was Mr. McGee. Mm-mm-mm-mm. He told me several times that he didn't like my kind because I was a bit too leisurely. It seems that I was busy doing something close to nothing but different than the day before. And that's when I saw her. Oh, I saw her. She walked in through the outdoor. She wore a blah, 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 blah. The kind you find in a secondhand store. Blah. No. Oh, man. Okay, well, we were only looking for this little known singer. His name was Prince.
Oh, I
And
should have
the name
known
of the
that.
song was Raspberry Beret.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
But that's
well,
not fair. That should have been in the Prince song category. If it ain't Doves Cry or Purple Rain, I'm not going to remember it.
okay, that was a pretty popular one, though. So,
Keep in mind, I was born in 89, so I was just at the very tail end of the 80s.
okay. All right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But I sure as hell do know quite a few 60s songs, ma'am. I was born
Oh,
1968.
I
Back
love
when I was born, we didn't even have this internet thing. We didn't even have, we had 8-track tapes.
But you guys had the best music in the 60s. You had the Mamas and the Papas, the Zombies, just like some of the best music was in the
Oh,
60s.
really? Okay. Next time I have you on the show, you can do 60s.
I love that.
Okay. So right now, we are almost out of time here. We're going to jump into what I call my favorite things. And this is basically your favorite things. There are no wrong answers here. Just the things that you like and you love.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Favorite cartoon from childhood?
Rugrats.
Well done. Favorite current cartoon?
South Park.
Nice, nice. Favorite place to hang out in Los Angeles?
Laurel Canyon.
What is Laurel Canyon?
It's a little pocket in Laurel Canyon. But it's just so it's trapped in the 60s, 70s vibe. It's where like just every musician got their start. Jim Morrison, Mamas and the Papas, Joni Mitchell, Bonnie
Oh,
Raitt. Everyone started in Laurel Canyon, and it's still got
interesting.
this amazing vibe there.
Ah, okay. So it's kind of like it's a neighborhood with a historical flavor to it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well done. Favorite singer or group?
Hmm. Um, right now at the moment, Bonnie Raitt is just kind of consistently for me. Bonnie Raitt or Fiona Apple, I'd say are my two. I
I
do love.
love
I
Fiona.
also for more current stuff, I'm really like vibing with Billie Eilish right now. I think that kid is just brilliant.
Yeah,
Kid,
she is
not a
great.
kid, but yeah, she's wonderful.
I was slow to take there because my daughter loves Billie Eilish, and I
What was
was slow
actually
to.
what was really cool is her brother Phineas actually retweeted one of my tweets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was like,
The only reason I know about her brother is because she was on Saturday Night Live, and her mother came on stage with a T-shirt that said Phineas's mother. That's
yeah, they
funny,
seem like a cute family.
indeed. Okay, favorite Twitter account?
Besides yours,
Yes, besides mine.
I would say Kathy Griffin or the Progressivists are fabulous. I love their posts. So
Excellent.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I know Kathy Griffin. I feel like I've seen the Progressivists, you said?
Hmm.
I'm going to have to check them out.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Pizza or burgers?
Gluten-free vegan pizza.
All right. I guess that kind of borderline counts as pizza. Bagel or donut?
Donut.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Nice, nice. Espresso or cappuccino?
Espresso.
Cats or dogs?
Dog, for sure. I mean,
Oh,
those
that's
are my puppy girlfriends.
that is cool. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would that be?
Florence, Italy.
Nice, nice. Have you been there before?
Yes, I love Italy. Yeah.
Okay. If you could do any job for a day, what would that be?
This job. I would say specifically, I would love to be working on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I know they have one season left, but it's my favorite show.
Mm, that's good. I love that show. It's a
Yeah,
fantastic comedy.
it
Yeah.
is.
Well, it's not even really just a comedy. It's like a dramedy.
Yeah, it's so well done, and it's
Yeah.
basically like I know I grew up in a different time than that, but that's basically like it reminds me so much of my family, just the Jewish New Yorker. It's just the way like my family talks, and it's just like some of the stuff they say, where they go, the certain markets they go to. It's just places I've been, and it's just I relate so much to that show.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a fantastic show. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last but not least, any particular charities or foundations slash organizations close to your heart or that you support?
GLAD and Human Rights Campaign.
GLAD, that's GLAAD, right?
Yes.
That's the Gay and Lesbian Association.
Hey, I didn't make up the name. I just like the organization.
Hang on. Let's just do a quick
Yeah.
Google. GLAAD.
Oh, there you go. I think it's
Stands
Gay
for.
Alliance.
Wait.
Gay, Lesbian, and Alliance.
God damn it. You know, you would think somebody. All right. Let's see. Stands for. Oh, Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. There we go.
We're close.
Okay. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, this has been our friend Plastic Martyr. Please be sure to follow her on Twitter at Plastic Martyr, or on Instagram, where she is, she's a giant on the Instagram. And Plastic, this has been a real thrill and an honor and a pleasure for me to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Indeed. Just hold tight while I say bye-bye to the viewers here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me yet again for another wonderful episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. If you have not yet gotten your shot, please do so. Serious, this is not a joke. The COVID is still a thing. If you are so inclined, please wear a mask. Keep your social distance 6 feet or better. And I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Same time, same place. I love you all. Peace.